Ahoy YouTube! It's Professor Mimi from Card Fight Crash Course with hopefully a quick video today. I know, quick for me is rare, but this deck is simple. It's more of a novelty than anything. At the BuddyFight tournament in Vancouver this past weekend, Alicia played this day too because she refuses on principle to play BuddyFight, so she had a goal. I'm going to play BuddyFight without playing BuddyFight. I'm going to register BuddyFight as my nation, but I will not play BuddyFight cards. We have Zephyr Seed. Surely we can make a deck with Zephyr Seed work, right? Well, the way the rules work, you can't use, you can have the BuddyFight cards in your deck, but you can't call them to any circles or activate any order abilities or anything unless you have the flag that lets you use their effects. So we have to make the rest of this deck with no BuddyFight cards. And as an Easter egg, if you can figure out why this deck would fail deck check by the end of my breakdown here, then hats off to you. Maybe I'll give you a special prize or something on Discord. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So this is Sephirogelia BuddyFight, but then that means if we're playing BuddyFight as our nation on Decklog, but we can't play any BuddyFight cards, it means we're gonna have to play only nationless cards. Only nationless cards, and that gets pretty challenging to do pretty quickly. Let's see. Because of course we've got 4 Sephirogelia. Of course. That's easy. Now what? The cards that we get here are pretty funny. Most of them have some strange printing somewhere. We have heckin' Light Elemental Popowa, who I believe was from when they were starting DZ. There was a special learn to play caravan or something like that would roam around and you could get these. They're pretty rare. They're not very valuable because they're tough to put in anything, but they're actually pretty tough to come by. We can use all sorts of strange promotional cards to get our deck size up to 50 because we don't have very many good cards. We have to very quickly go to Griffogelia just to use as a grade 10, grade 3-ish replacement, 13k. Vanilla, it doesn't do anything, but it attacks for 13. Because after that, the terms of units we've got, we don't have very many. We just have starters. We have the quintessential quintuplets, more Zephyro Seeds, and 2 Grifo Seeds for 9, essentially 6k vanilla starters. It's not where you want to be in life, all things considered. It's not the strongest call targets off of Sephirogelia here, but all of them are legal call targets. The quintessential quintuplet starter is nationless for some reason, and without it, we would have a pretty tough time filling up all of our slots. I don't actually believe if this was gone, we would put in 2 more of this, but then we can't put in another Grifo Seed, and I don't believe there are any other nationless unit cards in Standard, because we're already playing a playset of the nationless order cards, Mask of Hydrogum, and the Corrosive Smoke Signals, because these also don't have nations because they're meant to work with Sephirogelia and Griffogelia. And if we're maxed out on them, aside from our Perfect Guards and Regalis piece, this is everything. And we're maxed out on everything except for our vanilla starters. So if the quintessential quintuplet starter was not nationless, this would not be possible. So thank you, Quintessential Quintuplets Collab, for letting this legal BuddyFight Sephirgilia deck exist. We have, this is 29 cards here. So our 30th, before we get to our lands, is a Regalis piece. Twincast is the best Regalis piece usually to play with one of the Dragon Trees, because it's removed from drop zone effect to gain shield based off your Vanguard's grade. Remember, you're grade 10, so you get 50,000 shield. It's like it's like an additional perfect card. You can just get 50k. Pretty clean. Pretty clean. Most of our deck doesn't do anything, sadly. But you know what? That's okay. Because you know what does do stuff? Triggers. We have triple drive. We've got 9-ish crits. Because we have the blue over trigger here. So even though our deck kind of sucks, anyone can win if they check enough crits, right? So that was part of the thought there. And then, of course, in order to get this deck to have nationless perfect cards, there was the Vanguard X Shadowverse tournaments that they did, where if you participated, you could get one of these Bellringer Angels, which are nationless perfect cards. The only ones, aside from, of course, Elementaria Sanctitude. The crest one, don't forget, works against any non-energy generator crest. So it was pretty good to play in the BuddyFight tournament, because everybody, except for Alicia, was playing the BuddyFight crest. An interesting thing to note about crests that came up multiple times this weekend, just a fun fact for everybody, is that you're supposed to put your crest on the table face up before you start. Like your 0 goes face down. So Sephirgilia would be face down. But then energy generator would be face up on the table before you start. I see most people having to place their generator face up mid-game, which is not normally how you're supposed to do things. It doesn't normally matter, but I remember I had to do a stream game for the tournament on Saturday for the big standard tournament, and somebody was having a whole thing, but well, my ride deck crest is in an illegal sleeve, so am I gonna have to change it? And I was like, no, man, you're supposed to start with that face up on the table anyway. And it created this whole thing of everybody's like, well, do I have to have this on the table? Because it was like BuddyFight versus Prison. So there was actually going to be a time where there was going to be 2 different ride deck crests on the table. And then knowing what deck somebody's playing, like, oh, if they're playing BuddyFight, they're going to have extra orders and this and that. So it's going to affect how the Prison player might have their mulligan or their strategy or blah, blah, blah. So we got that all sorted out before things started. And now it's a little extra lesson for me to tell everybody. So there's not much insight to glean from how this deck is constructed or how it plays. It was really just a novelty of she did build a 99% legal deck. It was almost legal. We found out mid-tournament. She was the one who actually told me. She's like, oh yeah, my deck's illegal, by the way. Oopsies. I was like, what do you mean your deck's illegal? We'll get to that. That's the secret. If you can figure out why this deck is illegal, let me know in the comments. Let me know. It's cute. It kind of shows off interesting cards and how all the different promos have come up over time. So like the Yumina Keshos allow us to have everything. Those cute little Cray Elemental triggers they printed let us actually have fronts. Otherwise, you'd have to be playing essentially only 13 triggers, because we'd have to put in like BuddyFight triggers to have a legal deck, but then we couldn't actually use them. So the Cray Elementals allow this deck to use all 16 triggers. There was those promo cards from like round 1. There was the Ancient Magus Bride crit. There's a Shadowverse crit. There's all sorts of cute triggers that we get from collabs that are nationless, which can help you personalize your decks a little more. So it was really neat to see that those generic cute little art cards, like the Yuminakeshos and the round 1 crits, actually end up being kind of mechanically unique in that they let you make a nationless nation deck. Because everybody else, they enter round one for their round one of the BuddyFight tournament to try and get a promo card. But then, well, they don't have a BuddyFight deck actually, so they have to drop almost immediately in order to get their promo without having to do too much effort. But this was a lot more effort. But it was worth it in the end because it was really fun. A lot of people really enjoyed seeing this deck and playing against it because the BuddyFight tournament energy was super sweaty. It was really try hard. So to have this floating around to kind of help lighten the mood and help people remember that Vanguard is supposed to be fun, it was pretty neat. Like the Dragon Tree guy was there at the tournament. He saw this, he's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Everybody like, oh my gosh, wait, Dragon Tree am I gonna be cooked? And then she'd call quintessential quintuplets and they go, oh, this is a meme deck. Okay, I'm chilling. That was how it went most of the time. Because it definitely is a meme deck. Almost everything in our deck is vanilla. The only thing that does anything is we're going to use our smoke signals to get Dragon Tree markers, and we'll use the big tree to swing big with triple drive. But hey, she got surprisingly close to winning a lot of her games. A lot of her games came down to, well, if I double crit you, I guess I win. But that's just Vanguard, You don't always win. You can't always win. Just check crits. You can win. That's all you gotta do, right? That's all you gotta do. Just check triggers. You can win. But that's about it. Nothing in here is too interesting. There's just the little tips about twin cast. Going big mode on your Dragon Tree. That's a secret. That caught a few people off guard. And now that we are here at the end of the video, what's illegal about this? Actually, I guess you can't tell it's illegal. Here's the ride deck. Sephiroth, grade 1 order, grade 2 order, grade 3 order. And that's it. The rest of this is Dragon Tree markers. What is illegal about this? When I was first checking the deck to make sure that she was going to be fine, I didn't think about it. But after my greatest nemesis, the fighter's rules, I don't know what it is with me, but I can never remember to check the fighter's rules. I finally read the fighter's rules, and I can tell you what's illegal about this. In 3, 2, 1. We forgot to put in a buddy monster. Even though we don't have the BuddyFight crest and cannot perform a buddy call, the fighter's rules still say if you've selected BuddyFight in these little like angle brackets, which is how they refer to like clans and nations. So if you've chosen that in Decklog or whatever, then you need to have a buddy monster, because of course you're gonna have the crest, right? Because the crest itself doesn't say like you can have an additional card in your ride deck to have a buddy monster. That information is in the rules themselves. But we don't have a buddy monster. I think for memes, she probably would have put on the Vartex as the buddy monster. That would have been pretty funny. We have 2 FFR Vartexes that don't see any play. Unfortunately. But yeah. It was pretty cute. It wasn't very successful, of course. I don't believe she won a game. I think she got really close to winning all of her games, but I don't think she actually ended up getting any. I think she technically won round 1, of course, because her deck was legal and her opponent's deck was not the classic. Because half the tournament was just there to collect a promo and leave. So she was able to get her, my deck's legal, get wrecked. And then I think they lost to Shiranui, but they get to put down the win anyway. That's pretty much it. Just a silly little novelty deck But it's a great little teaching point to remember that your ride deck crests needs to go face up on the table before you start. So it's totally fine to just put your energy generator on the table and your track before things started, or before things get started. You don't have to like wait until partway through the game to like, oh, dig out your track and this and that to save information. Like your BuddyFight, like if you're playing BuddyFight or Token Rambu or the energy generator, whatever new crest they had the standard after this, the ride deck crests start on the table face up so that your opponent can kind of have a general idea of what they're playing against. And since you're like technically supposed to confirm how many ride deck cards are in your ride deck before the game begins, but nobody does that in practice. Nobody sits there and asks you how many cards you got in your ride deck. So it's a good courtesy to, especially if you're playing a deck that has a non-standard number of cards in their ride deck, to make it clear to your opponent that you are playing a non-standard crest. If anybody tries to shark you out your energy generator, now you know. You told them, Judge says it's fine, we got the energy crest face up on the table already, because that's what we're supposed to do. Not too much else to say. That's pretty much it. We got cute promo cards with a lot of fun memories. Like, we had a fun time going to round 1 to get these crits. It was fun to reminisce about winning the Uinakeshos to get the Uinakeshos, or the Shadowverse tournament. It's just a lot of finally got an excuse to pick up a playset of Popowa. What a cutie. Love little Popowa here. Just a fun little deck, a novelty. If you have all these very specific cards lying around, then you too can participate in a BuddyFight tournament. I think some of the ones in like Europe have really low turnout. So if you are European and you don't want to buy a BuddyFight deck, but there's a BCS in town, then consider trying to put together Dragon Treat. Your deck is technically legal, even if it's not very good. But you know, if there were only going to be 7 BuddyFighters in the tournament, and then you show up to make 8, hey, you still make top 8, and you get the nice prizing. So there you have it, everybody. Just a really short video for you today. And there's not too much tech to go over in this deck. It's just Griefagilia and a pile of stuff to make the deck legal. You don't have to make any crazy plays other than, you know, hard mull for corrosive smoke signals. Because if you get enough Dragon Tree markers early on enough, then you'll get your triple drive early, and the sooner you get your triple drive, the sooner you get put in those situations where, well, double crit me, bro, you can win, and then you will check double crit eventually. That's the law of larger numbers. Eventually you'll check double crit and win, right? Well, not Alicia. The sample size of one tournament was not enough for her. But that has been it from me. I have been Mimi from Cardfight Crash Course. This was the fun Sephragilia BuddyFight novelty deck, and I hope you all enjoyed. Take care, everybody. Spread love and be kind.